Psalm chapter 1 verse 1 reads, "Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful." This verse opens the Psalter with a striking declaration of what it means to be blessed by God. It sets the stage for understanding the way of righteousness as opposed to the way of wickedness, which is a central theme throughout the Psalms. The word blessed here indicates a state of well-being and prosperity that comes from being in right relationship with God. It does not merely refer to external circumstances, but speaks to a deeper spiritual joy and contentment. This blessedness is contrasted with the fate of the wicked, which the psalm discusses later. The structure of the verse is noteworthy. It uses a poetic technique called synonymous parallelism, where each clause intensifies the idea expressed. The verse describes a progression, walking, standing, and sitting, which illustrates a gradual, deepening involvement with sin. The choice of verbs from walking to standing to sitting suggests an increasing commitment to the way one has chosen. Walking in the counsel of the ungodly means living one's life influenced by advice or worldviews that do not acknowledge God's truth. The counsel of the ungodly can be understood as philosophies or lifestyles that are contrary to biblical teaching. They are characterized by a rejection of God's wisdom and authority. Standing in the path of sinners refers to positioning oneself in the way of life that sinners tread. Here, sinners denotes those who live in contradiction to God's commands. To stand in their path is to choose to participate in and become part of their community and practices. This term highlights the danger of becoming stationary in a place that leads away from God. Sitting in the seat of the scornful represents a further and more settled phase of alignment with sin. The scornful are those who not only live in rejection of God's laws, but also mock them and influence others to do the same. To sit with them is to be thoroughly at ease and identified with scoffing at godly principles. This final stage marks a complete assimilation into an attitude of rebellion against God. The passage invites readers to reflect on their own lives in light of these descriptions. It calls us to examine whom we are influenced by, where we stand in our spiritual journey, and with whom we are seated in agreement. The implication is clear. Association and identification with sin lead one away from the happiness and security found in a life oriented toward God. In examining this verse, we can also infer that the blessed man actively avoids these negative influences. By implication, he seeks out godly counsel, aligns himself with those who follow God's ways, and takes his place among those who respect divine truth. This proactive seeking of righteousness is essential for securing the blessings mentioned. Throughout the Scriptures, there is a stark line drawn between the ways of the righteous and the ways of the wicked. This is not only a theme in the Psalms, but throughout the biblical narrative. The choices we make in terms of our influences, practices, and companionships are indicative of our alignment with either righteousness or wickedness. Additionally, this verse serves as an introduction to the two ways presented in the Psalms and wisdom literature, the way of the righteous and the way of the wicked. This dichotomy is foundational to understanding the entire counsel of the Bible. It emphasizes that every individual must choose their path, a theme that echoes the blessings and curses presented in the law of Moses. Psalm chapter 1 verse 1 does not merely instruct us to avoid negative influences, it also implicitly guides us toward what we should seek: godly wisdom, righteous company, and holy living. As one reflects on this verse, it becomes clear that true happiness and well-being are found in a deliberate choice to live under God's wisdom and authority. This orientation shapes all aspects of life, providing a guide for both behavior and belief. This understanding serves as a foundation for a life that is in accordance with God's will, leading to the ultimate blessing of knowing and walking with God.